Welcome to the Bad Beat Podcast. My name is Robert Eisenstadt. I'm your host. We got our guest, Craig Harrison, today from F9 Restoration.
What's up, y'all?
Thank you for joining us, even though you didn't even join us for a podcast. This just kind of happened. Craig joined us today to train my company in some pressure washing and some concrete restoration today. We were out at 6 a.m. out on some job sites and doing some training with our crew. And we actually were in this room for a few hours going over some PowerPoint presentations. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for taking me out here.
Yeah, man.
We had a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Some of us were up at 6. Some of us are out at 6.
Look, man, I was up. I broke my bed cover trying to put the generator in my bed today.
Man, what you have to go through to get good training.
Yeah, it's okay. So as far as the pressure washing goes, you started your business as a pressure washing company, right?
I started my first pressure washing company in 1998.
Okay.
Yep, moved from Wisconsin to California. Actually, I was the youngest golf course superintendent. I would have taken over the superintendent's position at the golf course.
Oh, so you were working at a golf course before you...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Moved out to California in 98, and I couldn't get a job at any of the courses out there, primarily because I wasn't bilingual. So I had a background in, doing multiple different things. Like I started my first company, landscape company, when I was 8 years old. And then had many different jobs after that.
Just mowing lawns?
Mowing lawns.
Little hustler.
I had at 8 years old, grew up in northern Wisconsin, right? So there's not a whole lot to do, especially when your parents are gone. You're the only one at home. You can go out and chase animals or
get some cheese curds,
shoot your BB guns at whatever, climb trees, jump off roofs, go run and play in the snow or leaves or whatever's out there. So, actually before that, I used to take apart stompers, and put them all back together. I'm like 4 or 5 years old.
Take apart what?
You see, you're too young. You don't even know these things. They're like little 4-wheel drive, little tiny cars. They're like full of electronics and stuff inside. Back then they called them stompers. And they were, dude, if you're like 4 years old, 5 years old, and you have a stomper, everybody wanted to be your friend.
Really?
These things are so cool.
I never heard of a stomper before.
Yeah, I had my dad's little soldering kit. So I could take apart the wires and solder them back together. Sometimes put multiple engines into one stomper, and they're like, what the heck are you doing? And mine would like crush everybody's and go faster.
And they were remote control?
No, they're like not remote control, but there's a little like thing on them that you push for like 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive and stuff like that. So they just go and they just go over stuff. They're super fun.
Yeah, they don't make cool toys nowadays like they used to.
So 8 years old, I basically took apart a lawnmower, put it back together. My dad wasn't impressed by what I did when he came home, so he ended up buying me a 3-wheeler and a new lawnmower, and we had a trailer behind the 3-wheeler. Now, where I grew up, a total wilderness. Like, we had 26 miles of dirt roads. So at 8 years old, I had my first business. Had a 3-wheeler, trailer, lawnmower in the back, and that's when I figured out, number one, I was all about independence. I loved to just be out there in the wilderness by myself. So I could be literally 25 miles from our house with nothing but my BB gun, a buckskin knife, and my lawnmower, knocking door to door, trying to get business. The first lawn I ever mowed, I did for $10, and it only took a couple jobs after that to realize, hey, I have gas, I have overhead, I have tire expense. One lawn I did for like 4 hours. I'm like, I lost my ass on that job. That's never going to happen again.
Yeah. But made $2.50 an hour.
Yeah, pretty much. Back then, that was good money.
Yeah, it was good money, huh?
Not
I wouldn't
anymore.
know. So 8 years old, you started the lawnmower business or the lawn care business, and then obviously you went through high school. Did you go to college?
I went to college on and off. I had like a partial medical scholarship, but I'm from a small town, so it wasn't a huge deal. I guess it was to a lot of people, but I did not want to be a doctor, didn't want to go to medical school. I was all, even at a young age, like high school age, college age, all about fitness and nutrition and diet, and doing things natural. And I found it very quickly that pharmaceutical industrial complex is more geared around pharmaceuticals and, pills and, it's just a big money type of machine. And I didn't want to be a part of that. So I failed out of school once, got back in, failed out of school a second time. And they were both on purpose. I didn't want to be there. Lost the scholarship, and then just started doing my own thing after that, business after business, typically.
What were some of the businesses that you started?
I had a graphics design company. I helped some local companies do like marketing, advertising, just like knocking on doors, passing out flyers, doing stuff like that. I was into photography back then, but I didn't make any money at it. When I moved from Wisconsin to California, that was one of the first companies that I restarted up again after I couldn't get a job at the golf course.
Was it a graphics company?
No, it was the photography company.
Oh.
Photography.
For the weddings and stuff, like you were saying, right?
For weddings, and primarily it evolved into weddings, but before that, it's called Final Image Photography. And I went to, because I was a big golfer, I was almost a superintendent.
You don't say.
So I moved out there, couldn't get a job there. So I'm thinking, what can I do to, because it was, way over my pay grade. Those courses out there, they're like $200 to play around. So I made good friends with the guys down at the Carp Barn, kind of got in, worked my way up to the upper level management as far as our communication and talking to people. Let them know I had this, photography company, and we had PJ West, big course out there, like back then, Dave Duvall, Tiger Woods, Sergio Garcia. They have a bunch of like high-end tournaments out there at PJ West. Really, really nice course. So I figured out how to make one of those like 2-picture portfolio type of things where you have a picture of the foursome where they're standing up, they have the golf club in front of them,
yep.
Which is mainly used as, big corporate outings and stuff have those. So when they get back, they're like, here's proof that I actually went to this thing. They show their wives like, hey, I was actually out there golfing. It was kind of for work. So PJ West let me do some shoots out there, and I did some Hooters. There was a Hooters golf tournament. There was a Rug Doctor tournament with not Greg Norman, but one of the big guys, kind of like Greg Norman. So I got to hang out with him for the day, and I became, not huge, but fairly well known for doing these golf tournaments. So that was one of the first jobs or first businesses that I started when I was out there. But graphic design was part of that as well.
Does that have anything to do with your business name now?
No, the Final Image Photography, no, nothing.
No, I mean working for the golf courses.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So what got you into pressure washing?
What got me into pressure washing was in, when was it? I guess 2000. No, 98 is when I started the company. 2000. So I was doing it part-time, like not really like full-blown, full-scale. Didn't have the money.
For somebody else or for you?
No, I was working for myself. Just mainly kind of a part-time thing, because I still had other jobs. I worked at the Marriott like early on. So that was a part-time thing. And then I went to work. I realized that I really needed help with my sales skills, because with the photography stuff, even though some of the tournaments were pre-sold, other ones weren't.
Right.
So the ones that weren't, I'd have to go back to wherever corporate place they were having at at the hotel, normally at the Westin or Marriott or someplace nice. And then I'd have to go with all of my things I put together, my little portfolios, and try to sell each one. And I realized I really needed some sales. So I'm like, well, what better place to find a college education in sales than the car business? So in about 2000, I went to work at Palm Springs Motors in Palm Springs, California. And quickly, within a year, became the internet, actually it was about 6 months, became the internet manager and fleet manager. So I was doing like a lot of deals to their commercial clients and stuff like that. So in about 2001 is when I took that time that I had at the dealership to really evolve my knowledge with pressure washing, because I had the sales now from that. And I spent a lot of time just researching everything I could for about almost a year and a half. So I researched. Back then we had different bulletin boards. They call them BBS. Pressure Washing Institute was big. The grime scene was another one.
Oh, it was big back then?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like 2000. I was one of the first probably 3 or 4 people on the Pressure Washing Institute.
Wow.
Back then. I think it was 2000. You'd have to ask Musgraves.
And so most of your stuff was residential, right? With a lot of commercial?
Back then, yeah. After a couple of years, I found out that, commercial was great. Commercial jobs are awesome.
Question, did you start out doing commercial or residential?
I started out doing a little bit of both. But I had to do commercial jobs in the beginning because I had another full-time job at the car dealership. So I took all my connections from the dealership, and I'd call, hey, you got 6 rigs. I knew you're doing this or this construction stuff. I have a pressure washer and surface cleaner. Is there anything I can do? And I started getting leads from my car business contacts because they were all business owners.
What did I say earlier? It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who
There
knows you.
Got it.
But dude, I mean, it's crazy how that works. Like for me, I literally fell into my pressure washing business. I started my carpet cleaning business, and one of my friends.
Quick question. When did you start because I was interested in your background because I've known you for 5 years?
Yeah, about 5 years.
So I think I've just known you just in the pressure washing arena. That's where
so I started my business in 2015 with my ex. We both kind of had some rough stories. My dad died in 2014. I was working for a car dealership. I was a service advisor. He died on a Saturday.
So we were both in the car business.
Yeah, we were both in the car business. It was also sales though, because I'm trying to sell them on, doing different services or repairs.
In the toughest end.
Oh, dude, it was so stressful. Oh my God, it was people would come in screaming at you, "Why is my car down?"
Sorry about your dad too.
Oh yeah, it was rough. But another thing, that's the same thing. Like, why was this happening to me? Is what I was looking at, not why is this happening for me? And I know that particular instance is a really hard one to look at, and it took me a few years to do so, but it all fell into place because of him passing away. I mean, so I was working at a car dealership. I'm trying not to say the name of the car dealership. As a service advisor, he passed away. I took like a week off. I had to pretty much handle everything. They didn't give me enough time off that I needed to handle everything. When I tried to go back into work, they said they needed me. I said I couldn't be here. Mm-hmm. They said, no, you can't take more time off. So I told them to go fuck themselves. I quit. My ex, she was in a very bad car accident. A drunk driver tried to commit suicide and hit her head on. She ruptured her L5S1 or L5S1. Is that what it is?
I'm not
sure. The discs in your back.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Cracked her pelvis. I mean, she was in a wheelchair for like a year.
Oh my God.
So I got a little bit of insurance money. She got a little bit of insurance money, and we kind of met at the right time. And I just didn't want to be not worth anything, and I guess put out into the universe every day, like, I need to do something with my life. I need to do something with my life. Mm-hmm. And I went to a party. One of my buddies was like, you should start a carpet cleaning business. I do it for my boss and he makes pretty good money. I was like, nah, dude, that's like a gross job. I don't want to do that.
Business?
I don't want to be cleaning people's shit out of their carpets. A couple weeks went by and I was like, fuck it, I got to do something. So I got a hold of his boss, bought one of his trucks, and we started the carpet cleaning business. We lost a ton of money not knowing what we were doing. We hired him, and then one day my buddy ran a chain of gas stations and called me and said, hey, we just fired our pressure washing contractor. You want the contract?
And he was just a friend of yours, has nothing to do with the carpet cleaning industry?
Nope.
Interesting.
He just called me one day. He knew I did the carpet cleaning, and he knew I'd be willing to take something on. So, he called me. I said yes. We went and sold some of our stuff and went and bought the pressure washer that's in that Dodge in the shop right now. Still have it. And we're still doing that same contract to this day.
Interesting. And that was in 2015?
That was probably in 2016.
Okay.
When that happened.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you've got a good 6 years in you?
Yeah. A lot of ups and downs.
That's awesome. It's like any business. It's not, people think it's okay. They look at you and think, you have a lot of money or, you're super successful, man. It is just a jagged road.
Oh yeah.
To get there. But you always have to have that mindset of making lemonade out of lemons every single day.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes many times a day.
Well, I mean, like it's crazy how you're, I just learned this today. I didn't even know about this until earlier today when you threw the respirator on.
Yeah. About the injury?
Yeah. I had no idea. I mean, that completely changed your life. That transitioned your entire company. You went from owning a pressure washing business to manufacturing and distribution of.
I went from having 20 plus employees to being laid out in a bed on an IV, for 10 days, $130,000 medical bill, not knowing if I was ever going to fully recover, if I'm ever going to pressure wash again, and just kind of recap the story. As I told you before, a product that I had used for 4 or 5 years up until that point, because your body builds kind of like, people who are eggs, wheat, gluten, dairy intolerant, or some people like a bee sting, can kill some people. You need a freaking EpiPen to bring it back. Well, my body built up toxins to the hydrochloric acid, uninhibited, hydrochloric acid in a product. And just one whiff put me over the edge. Within 24 hours, I was just laid out in the hospital. Lost 30 pounds over 30 days. Took a good 6 months to regain that weight back, but really it took close to 6 years for my body to fully recover. And even then, it wasn't fully recovered. Like, I could never work out like I used to beforehand.
Damn.
Until now. That happened in like 2005, 2006. Now we're looking 16 years later. I'm finally fully recovered. And that wasn't until a couple months ago, because I was still having like tendonitis in both elbows and throughout the forearm and stuff.
And all from breathing in chemicals?
All from breathing in one whiff, one time, very quick. And it was only like a little tiny
What were you cleaning?
Just a vertical brick at a Home Depot. Yeah, some calcium of uninhibited hydrochloric acid. So after that, I had a just come to God moment, and I was praying, like, what am I going to do? Because I can never work around those products ever again. Or any product, really.
Because it could kill you a lot easier than it would before.
It could kill me. If anybody wants to knock me off, throw some hydrochloric acid in. That might be the enemy.
Now I know the trick.
Enemy, yeah. Pretty insane what they can do, and you have warning labels on different products and whatnot. But so after that, we took all of my profit, from that year and going. It took, good 5-6 years until we had the bark product fully developed. And the bark is what we used to kind of rebuild our company based all around the whole battery acid stain from all the golf courses. So we still had leads in ins to the different golf courses. We had Pulte Lennar, KB, but the Pulte Del Webb was the big one for us. Developed that product, had chemists, and once we got to the point where that product could remove, and we understood the chemistry of a battery acid stain, we rebuilt our company to a fairly sizable company, but, never to where it was before. Because I learned too, we had 20 plus employees at one time, and I was more comfortable with about 5-6 guys. That was a good sweet spot for me.
A lot of people say the less people you got working for you, the more money you're going to make. I feel like there's like a
less
plateau.
Headache, unless you have structured out.
There's like a plateau that you'll hit, like, because at one point I had 12 guys, which was a lot for just me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when it was just me, I was making amazing money. When I had 12 guys, I was running around with my head cut off, stressed all day long, not making any money.
It was horrible.
It was
from 6 to, like I said before, it was after 12. From like 6 to 12, there's no more money made.
Yeah.
All the money went to workers' comp and new rigs and, building it out. That's
repairs on equipment or trucks or.
Yeah. I mean, 5-6 guys, you can make a good amount of money with 5-6 guys and a couple of rigs.
Yep.
But once you double that, the workers' comp, and then to deal with the personalities and people not showing up, and you're trying to build yourself so you can work on it, not in it.
Not in it,
you know. And nowadays, I think it's a whole lot easier with all of the other information and other guys coming out sharing their business path. In the pressure washing industry, they've created more roadmaps for people to follow.
I feel like it's harder.
20 years ago, I don't know.
I feel like it's way harder.
20 years ago, I had nobody to look to follow, to look up to. Nobody showed me anything really other than, some basic stain removal. But that's when I realized there's more of a niche out there than just gum removal and removing oil and just cleaning stuff.
But it's also 10 times easier to open up a business now than it was 20 years ago.
There's more competition now.
Because it's 10 times easier to open up a business.
We need to be smarter with our marketing.
No, you just always got to be one step ahead of your competition. But I'm saying as far as like retaining employees and...
Oh, retaining employees, I can't imagine. That's got to be a nightmare.
Everybody thinks that they can own a business, and they can, but 99% of them are fucking lazy, and they're not going to do the shit that they need to do to make their business successful.
Sorry, guys, for Generation Z, but... Oh, man, I noticed this stuff in like 2009, 10, 11, 12. And in 2012 is when I started the F9 restoration. So we had the product all made, built out perfectly. Everything's in there. And I had another, come to God moment. What am I going to do? Like, keep pressure washing, build that up again. I already built that up once. And I know how it is to run on fumes, getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep at night, paying everybody else first. And then you have this huge nut for workers' comp out in California. It's just absolutely insane. So, I took a very small amount of money and came out with the F9 product. I did everything myself for the bark product to come out to the restoration industry. I started F9 Restoration with $7,000.
Wow.
And I could have taken more money out of out of the power washing business to put in that. But I wanted to kind of, in my mind, just like, even though, like, if I'm making money, I still want to drive a piece of crap car, because it keeps me humble.
Yeah.
And I always live below my means. That was another big thing. So I would kind of play mind games sometimes. So I gave myself $7,000. And within 3 months, I had to take that product, find the containers, the caps, the seal caps, and I sent that to the manufacturer. And so we were in contact. So he kind of guided me, and then I guided him as well. Got our labels done, got everything ready, did some marketing, advertising, started the website. So there was a lot to it, all to do in 3 months. Launched that in June of 2012. We had a couple kids at the time, and with all the money that we were paying out in daycare. My goal with F9 Restoration, with my very first product, things evolve over time, and now it is what it is. But my whole goal was to make $500 a month with
That's
F9. I wanted this as kind of just to help us out with daycare expenses.
Really?
To have a repeat consumable product. That's
so
what I
your
was
side
happy
hustle
with,
turned into.
Well, they always do.
Did you?
Because I can't do anything half-assed, just like you. Even if you start something as a side hustle, you put a little bit of energy and love into it, it's going to grow.
Yeah. I feel like that's when people succeed the most, almost, is when they are extremely passionate about it, but they don't even care. Like,
they're not tied to the outcome. It's good to have a vision board, and to do everything you can to get there and push it forward, but, not be just so, I'm such a loser if I can't get there. You just let divine timing help you along your way. If you feel like you're swimming upstream and you're getting caught in a net every time you go, you just need to relax and I call it giving it to God. Just give it to God, let the divine timing take over, let the pieces of the puzzle fall into place, and then put them together. And sometimes, you just find a way around it, and things build themselves so much faster when you just kind of stay in the flow.
You're not making such emotional decisions.
Yeah, and just stay in the flow.
That's good advice. So now you got F9 Restoration, and
oh my gosh, we've businesses. We've got F9 Restoration, eco-friendly power washing in California. All that stuff is subbed out to 3 subcontractors. We're starting another pressure washing company coming up here in September. I have a restoration rig being built out now, so we can use that for our F9 online university, which the beta launch is coming probably this week. Like today is what, August 2nd, is it?
Yep, August 2nd.
2022?
Yeah.
So by the time if it gets released, we'll have everything out there. So, too late for those who are listening. But so the beta launch is coming, and in the spring of next year is the pre-launch. And then the soft launch of that. So we have like the actual launch is going to be next year, like September, fall of next year. So we have 150 to 200 videos that's going to be all part of F9 University. So that's almost, a full year and a half of shooting. And then what else? Oh, we have a Class A motorhome that we wrapped. My friend actually owns that company. It's called the Cleaning Classroom. So he's primarily teaching
the cleaning classroom.
The cleaning classroom. Yep, it's mobile training. 40-foot Class A motor coach, fully wrapped all the way around. And he's going to teach 35 F9 University one-day in-depth training across the United States, starting probably in September of this year, September 22.
Wow.
So that's going to help out, help out guys who can't make it to like the huge convention or different places, get them training in their own city.
I never knew that these conventions would be crazy like
They're
are.
huge. Look at the huge.
Yeah, no.
Look at all these conventions, even ones that kind of.
Yeah, but I never thought, like, even when I started a pressure washing business, I never thought pressure washing. Like, yeah, right? Like, spring water.
Back then, who knew that there was even a hot water pressure washer? When I found out there was a hot water pressure washer, I couldn't sleep for 3 days.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much I can do. I can clean gum. I bet it's good for oil. You know?
I'm saying like the average person though is like, oh yeah, pressure washing, like whatever it is, what it is. It's such a big industry. It's insane.
It is now.
Every commercial property that you see, period, every restaurant, everywhere, they all get pressure washing done.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like one of those like
by some by professional companies and some by, they call themselves pressure washers, but they're just glorified hose rinsers.
Or they're cooks. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if you have you run into that yet?
Sure.
Oh yeah, no, my chef comes out.
Yeah, they look real good, don't they?
So, and man, that's crazy. So 35 states. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's 35 states start in September of this year, 2022, maybe October, we'll see. Going to the F9 dealers in the biggest cities across the United States.
And holding them at their warehouses?
At their locations, at the distributorships. Oh. So that should be fun. That'll be a fun thing for Sean to do. Sean Gross, he's actually the former co-owner of the Power Wash store in Nashville. So he knows both the organic and the inorganic staining, the whole thing. And he came out, and Jason Ayers is another one of our trainers. So we have
Texas, right?
Two guys. No, Jason's near Nashville as well.
Nashville.
Yeah, he's pretty close to there.
That's going to be crazy. Well,
we got a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah, that's good, and it's a good way to market your company. Have a giant 40-foot bus driving around the United States.
I just can't wait till we get the the online university done.
Is that going to be on your website? Where is that going to be?
Well, it's going to be everywhere. Going to have it on our website. It's going to have probably its own website, and then we have our affiliates that are going to, all of our dealers and distributors. They can, sell the course. Because for the course, like say, you're a company and you have 5 employees. What's one of the biggest aggravations and expenses that you have as an employer?
Oh man, payroll.
And how much money does it cost to train guys that are on your payroll? And energy and effort.
Do we want to go over the details on how much it cost me to fly you out here and why you're here right now?
Well, we don't have to get into that, but my goal with the F9 University is to help, employers like you, both for yourself to get complete in-depth training on everything. And like in the cookbook, and I wrote the cookbook. And
where's that at?
Right here.
This guy wrote a book.
So for those that don't know, this is a book I wrote, almost 4 years ago, I guess.
How long did it take you to write this?
It took, funny story, it took 2 years to get to the point where I was motivated enough to sit down and quiet all the external sources so I could actually write it. And I started telling people about a year before it was written that I started writing it, but I hadn't actually started writing it yet. But I'm the kind of person that I need, like if I'm going to do something this big, I need more motivation. So by the time I actually wrote it, I had about 40 or 50 people that wanted to pay $200 a piece to purchase it. So I sat down and, I had a little alarm in my phone every morning at 6 o'clock, get the F9 Cookbook, write the F9 Cookbook. So one day I finally went into the office, turned off the lights, turned on lit the candles. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I have like half a glass of wine, take a couple sips. I may or may not have smoked a little weed. I'm still not sure. But I wrote that cookbook in 4 days.
Really?
4 days of coming in. And it wasn't like it is now. It took 30 days to get it to where, because I had a person take all of my...
So you just wrote down all the information and had somebody edit it?
Yeah. And like in here, we have all the...
I was always curious.
The charts and everything. Well, I mean, these always weren't this pretty. They were just little circle bubbles and little arrows pointing over here and arrows pointing over here. No, they were on like copy paper, but so I had about 50 of those, made several revisions, but knocked it out pretty quick once I actually
4 days?
4 days. Yeah, 4 days. 4 days to knock it out. 100-page F9 cookbook. There's over 1,400 different combinations of ways to use the 4 products.
The F9 All-Star lineup.
It's actually cool, I need to get you a new one. That's an outdated
we were talking
labels.
about that earlier.
Yeah. I'll send you one once I get back.
This is all of it. Also, is this available on Android too, or just
So the F9
iTunes?
Cookbook, it's a 100-page inorganic restoration manual, and it's available both in this beautiful laminated hard copy, 3-pound lifetime warranty on this. Also available in an app store. So kind of the cool thing, you click on it, and it's right there.
Is it on iTunes and Android, or
Apple and the Android?
Okay.
And we'll go in and see today. Over the last year, we've been rated, and I didn't even know this. I didn't pay attention. I didn't even know it was a thing. But a friend called me up. He goes, "Do you know you've been in the top 100 of Apple apps over the last year?" I'm like, "Well, what is it? What do you?" They go by like a rating. So if you go to the App Store, and there's over 500,000 educational apps, I think. And if you just look up the F9 Cookbook, it comes up right away. Today, look at that. See where it says chart? Today we're at number 68. Excuse me, 68
That's
out
pretty
of
good.
500,000 apps. I know, it's crazy.
That's cool, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's just something cool, It is what it is. Stay humble.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you sharing a little bit of your story. It was fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. Glad I could be here.
Yeah, man. And
the absolute first podcast.
I know, episode 1. And I kind of threw this on you, so I appreciate
good way
you.
to spend time before I have to get on the plane.
Yeah,
so
man.
Appreciate being here.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you guys. And until next time.
Peace.